We have finally gotten a glimpse of the new Harry Potter TV show over at HBO, and it looks fantastic. There are so many hidden elements, Easter eggs, references, and such to spot, and we are going to break down every single one of them. But before we do, I'd really appreciate it if you guys could subscribe, as this is a relatively new channel, and I just really appreciate the support. Also, it lets me know that you are enjoying this content. But without further ado, let's deep dive this trailer. The trailer opens up with the iconic HBO Max logo as we eventually pan into the Dursleys' house, with Vernon Dursley sat in the background reading a morning paper. Already it has that gritty British vibe to it. There is actually a theme with this trailer that I'm going to point out later. It kind of starts off very somber and sad, but it picks up as it goes on, which is kind of a reference to the story. Petunia says, "I told you," as we see Harry flung inside the cupboard under the stairs. There's a lot of clippings and items hung up on the walls here. I can't really make out what they are, but he's definitely sort of made this his own personal space. We then see a shot of Harry crying on a makeshift bed he's made in that cupboard, followed by Petunia saying, "You are a normal boy." We then get a shot of Harry running through the corridor of his muggle school, seemingly running away from Dudley and his gang. The following shot confirms and shows that Harry is being pinned up by two of Dudley's friends, as in the following shot, he closes in on Harry, and the voiceover for Petunia says, "And you're going to start acting like one." We then see a view of a very 90s looking kitchen as Petunia hacks away at Harry's hair. I love this shot. It's almost symbolic of how she's hacking away at him without a care in the world of just how much it's affecting him, which is very reflective of his life with the Dursleys. It seems very deep and in depth compared to even the books on this basis alone. She says, "You think you're something special," as Harry shows visible signs of being uncomfortable. "There is nothing special," she says in a close-up of her face with the scissors pointed at Harry. A shot follows of Harry receiving a pile of letters in the hallway of the Dursleys. Notice how this is pretty identical to the movie version, the staircase location, the living room, and so on. I know some would probably complain about this, but I feel it's almost a homage to the movies, so fans of those wouldn't feel so much like it's being replaced in a sense, which I'm quite respectful of as a huge fan of those movies. Harry holds the letters in his hands with the famous Harry Potter, "The Cupboard Under the Stairs, 4 Privet Drive, Little Winge in Surrey," scribbled on the front of it. We see a shot that follows of Harry on the train as he looks out of the window. A voiceover from him says, "I've always wanted to know about my parents." Then a shot on the train heading to London follows with Hagrid and Harry sat near each other, which is perfectly lifted from the book, but also very similar to the deleted scene from The Philosopher's Stone. Hagrid says, "Your parents were the kindest, bravest I ever met. They were funny and clever," with a close-up of Hagrid's face as he's talking to Harry. We then see a close-up of Harry's face as he touches his scar. I know we've seen this before, but I actually quite like how this scar looks like it is an actual scar, more than just sort of a drawing on his face, if you know what I mean. And they stood up for what they believed was right. Hagrid continues. We see Hagrid and Harry climbing the staircase from the subway, to which Hagrid says, "The next time I see you," following another shot of Harry in King's Cross Station, "will be in Hogwarts," continues Hagrid, as Harry begins running with his trolley towards platform 9 3/4. The train horn blows and Harry looks out of his window at none other than Molly Weasley as she hugs Ron goodbye. There's a theme of such deep-rooted trauma in this trailer. I don't know if you guys are picking up on this, but it's obviously the experience here that Harry would have loved to have had with his own mum, but he was robbed of that. It feels darker and almost really sad all the way through. Even though we're seeing this whimsical, magical story, the atmosphere is very thick with the neglect that Harry has suffered. It's an interesting choice, whether everyone will vibe with this is a different story. Some people kind of like the trauma, some people don't like the trauma, but I kind of do appreciate what they're trying to do. We see the train pull up at Hogsmeade Station. Again, a very similar shot to the movies here. I like it. It gives me Hogwarts Legacy vibes. Hagrid is stood further back with the famous lantern in hand. We see him then leading the first years to the boats in the next shot, and then a knock at the door, which looks like Hagrid's sleeve. Then we get the grand entrance hall that is spoken about so much in the books, but we never really saw it in the movies. But this, now look at this. It's such Hogwarts Legacy vibes, right? I think it looks awesome. The students pile in as Professor McGonagall is located at the back, waiting for them. We then get a close-up of her. She looks amazing. It's going to be hard for me to visualize anyone other than Maggie Smith playing McGonagall, but I'm here for it. Then there's a shot, and it's the Sorting Hat, and Harry slowly begins picking it up as a voiceover says, "Mr. Potter," and this is none other than Ollivander. We see Harry, Ron, and Hermione taking in the school surroundings. I mean, look at these three. It's like when the movies came out for the first time and we were all so excited. I think we can expect great things from you, continues Ollivander, as we get a shot of a busy area of Hogwarts. Again, it's very Hogwarts Legacy, and I love that. We get a shot of Ollivander and then another of him handing Harry his wand. Then we get a shot of, I'm going to say History of Magic, because it looks like the castle is displayed in the backdrop over there, and there's no real way this could appear or have a place in any other classroom. Then we get a close-up of Harry taking in whatever he's learning here. Then we see Harry walking into the Gryffindor common room as it pans upwards. Now, if you look, it's circular. There's comfortable sofas, students everywhere, and they're in sort of scuffed up uniforms, if you get what I mean. So it's likely later or after the classes have ended. Then we see Goyle, Malfoy, Crabbe, and Pansy Parkinson looking almost threatening at somebody. I'm presuming Harry? Then we see Harry and Ron unboxing the Nimbus 2000. So unimportant, but I kind of love that they've given it a box. It just seems like, yeah, you've bought this brand new, it would come in a box. Then the snowy Hufflepuff versus Gryffindor match that was omitted from the movies, but I love that they're including it here. Let's see who you are, continues Ollivander, as we see Hermione and Ron in the Quidditch stands cheering Harry on, followed by a shot of Harry walking onto the pitch. Then we get a shot of Herbology, which doesn't fully appear in book one, so it's interesting they are including it here. We can see Professor Sprout with a following shot of Hermione, Neville, and Parvati looking on in awe at whatever they are being shown. Then we can see Harry, Ron, and somebody else running along the tables in the Great Hall. Not really sure what's going on there. I have read the books recently. I don't think this is a scene from the actual books, but if I am wrong, you can correct me in the comments. Now, this next shot is of Harry and Ron laughing on the Hogwarts Express, but there's some things in this shot that I want to point out. Number one, Scabbers being one. Then there's also a new Bertie Bott's Every Flavour Bean box right there on this little table in the background. It's hard to make out the others, but you can grasp so many new designs here for the sweet treats of the Wizarding World that have been upgraded for HBO as opposed to the films. Whether that will come into effect in the theme parks and stuff, who knows. Then there is a snowball fight in the snow with another shot after of Hagrid making a snow angel. A spiraling staircase is next, which to me looks like it was lifted right from the films, which I do appreciate. People are being a little critical over that, but I appreciate it personally. Then we have the Quidditch team all raising their hands into the air in the next shot as they prepare for their match. We have Harry arriving at the Quidditch Stadium for that Gryffindor and Hufflepuff match I mentioned earlier. Notice all the Muggle clothes. That's an addition from the third movie that has stuck, which I absolutely love. As J.K. Rowling herself has said, they wouldn't be in uniform all the time, so it's kind of normal that this would happen. But it's very 90s. The outfits are very 90s, which I love. Then we see Harry and Ron toasting marshmallows by the fire. Now, what I mentioned earlier about the theme of the trailer, do you notice how it's kind of playing out like the books? It's kind of giving you the story of the Philosopher's Stone in this trailer, and it starts off sad, morbid, and it picks up as Harry arrives at Hogwarts, and then we're in this kind of giddy, fun school side of the story. I love how they've made that translate. It's like the trailer itself is a mini condensed version of the book/story. I think that's incredible how they've done that. I hope that people have picked up on that context. We have a quick shot of Hermione smiling, one of Snape with his wand lit, seemingly looking for someone. I'm not really sure what scene that is. Then there is a shot of Dumbledore. What's crazy to me is that he looks like the perfect hybrid of Richard Harris and Michael Gambon. I can't explain it, but if you guys know what I mean, he looks like the perfect hybrid of the two. and he has some sort of fork in hand, which is interesting. We then see the trio walking down a corridor, then followed by a shot on the train where Ron asks Harry if he's really Harry Potter. Harry shyly nods, which I think is acted so well here. He comes across so shy, to which Ron makes a mind-blowing sound effect. And that is it. My full breakdown of the trailer. It's a great trailer. There are some things I love. Some things I do wish were better, I'm going to be honest. Like, I'm not entirely sold on Nick Frost as Hagrid, but I think I'll have to see more of him to get a grasp of what he's like. He looks more like Fagin from Oliver Twist to me than he does actually Hagrid, but I suppose you're just kind of dealing with whatever we have right now. Then there's the darkness of it. Modern films tend to have this dark, somber look, and it's a shame as the early Harry Potter films had this bright whimsy, and they only got darker as it went on as they got older, but I guess it's not 2001 anymore. Still, there's a lot more to come from this, and I will promise to discuss everything. I've got so much to talk about from this new trailer. So that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you somewhere in the Wizarding world.